Welcome to Fullerton College Football on Sportsnet, USA.net, 90.1 FM KBPK, and all of that is in conjunction with Fullerton College Football and Fullerton College TV. Hi, I'm Mark Pavlovich, the voice of Fullerton College Football, and as we get ready for another season, well, behind me, we've got the Burger Bowl going on. No, we don't have any burgers on the grills yet. We just got a lot of beef on the field. There's 130 players out here, and the team is getting ready for next year. But let's take a little time and look back at last year, maybe the last few years, because I've been here for 15, and if we look at Tim Burns' lineage, we can tell that Tim is growing a program. Last year, Fullerton College was 8-3, a good year overall. When you think about two of those losses came to the same team, Mount Sac, and the third loss came to Riverside. Yeah, they rode the arm of Joey Verhey and even his feet sometime to get to 8-3, win a conference, and once again have a chance in the playoffs. The real year? Well, 2 years back. That was the magical year for Tim Burns. Jose Escobar, the quarterback that shouldn't have been out here, well, he came out here that year and told everybody, I'm your starter. He was a starter all year long, went 12-0 during the season, and in the next to last playoff game against Riverside, broke a hand. That's right, the Hornets, riding the hand that fed them, got a crack in it. So when they went up to Butte for the state championship and the national title, that hand didn't work anymore, and Fullerton came up one game short. Of course, I could talk about the season I thought wasn't too good at 7-4 when we go back 3 years, yet conference title again. And like Brian Crook said to me, 7-4, most teams would take that. Well, Fullerton College and myself, we look for national and state championships here with the Hornets. And that's the thing we're looking at this year. Of course, when we talk about Fullerton College football, we've had coaches shows in the past, and Ryan Osborne, who's going to come on over here, he's going to be the host of our coaches show this year. And Ryan, we're out here for the Burger Bowl. You're going to be talking to all the coaches and all the players this year. You look at this team right now, raw. A lot of athleticism. Nothing's been decided yet. Tough schedule like last year. Ryan, I got to look at you and say, well, a couple things you look at before your show starts. What do we have to look forward to in this 2015 season?
Well, I think the major thing is going to be the defense. A lot of sophomores left onto four-year colleges or just graduation in general. It's going to be a lot of, I guess I would say, unexperienced, quote, unexperienced players on the defensive end who really don't have any college time or college reps in games. So the main question for me is, how is that defense going to step up? You look at the offense, Joey Verhey, obviously he's no longer at Fullerton College. The offensive line is pretty much intact from last year. So they're going to have a around seven-man rotation once again this year. And honestly, I think the offense is pretty good. They haven't lost too much experience. But once again, that defense, they really need to figure out how to come together quickly. When you look at the schedule, obviously the first game is going to be at Ventura. Later on in the schedule, you're going to have two tough games, one against Riverside City College and one against Mount Sac. Mount Sac is in week 2, so this defense is going to have to put it together really quickly. Then you look down at Riverside. They're always a fast team. We talked about it a little bit earlier on today. They're a fast team. They pounded Fullerton College last year. So this defense is really going to have to make sure that they tighten up and in a hurry.
When you look at this team, and we've talked to the coaches already, and we talk about the athleticism with this team, most athletic team ever in Fullerton College history, most coachable team ever so far as what they've told me as the season gets ready. You're going to be out here every week looking how this team builds from day one on. We're going to find out who's going to start at quarterback, new faces at running back, 30 deep at the offensive line, deep at the defensive line. Have to see what the linebackers at. You've got a job at hand talking to Coach Burns, Coach Crooks, maybe Coach Deep, and other coaches out here to find out how the building's going to start when you start your coaches show next week, and if this Hornet team can get close to perfection like they were 2 years ago. It should be a challenge for you and the team.
Yeah, and I think a really good word that you used earlier was raw. This team, really, I mean, just coming into this season, you said coachable. They're raw. They still need to be developed a little more. So it's going to be interesting to see how the coaches think of these players as they progress throughout the season. Already, they've been working with them almost 2 months, and from the looks of it just behind me, it's going pretty well. But it's going to be interesting also to see who's going to step up at the quarterback position. Obviously, with Joey Verhey leaving, this is going to be the third starting quarterback in as many years.
Well, we'll see what happens, and what's really going to be interesting is when this season starts and you walk out to this practice field, will the bronze statue of Hal Scherbeck will be sitting out here. So when you walk out here every day, that tradition of 3 national championships, 16 conference titles, longest winning streak in collegiate history at the time is going to be staring you in the face all the time when you look at that Hal Scherbeck statue. You know what I think we ought to do now, though? I need to get out of your way, give you the microphone. Maybe you can track down a couple coaches and have them give you an idea of what this season may look like. So we're going to be around all year long. All the games are going to be on video. All the home games will be video. All the away games will be audio. And, of course, my partner over here to my right, Ryan Osborne, he'll be doing a coach's show every week, letting you know what's happened, what's going to happen, and where this Fullerton College team may be going. Ryan, I tell you what, I'm going to get out of your way, give you the microphone, let you have a good team. I'm Mark Pavlovich, the voice of Fullerton College football, and make sure you check in every week for the coach's show at Ryan Osborne. Ryan, I think I'm going to go find a burger while you talk to everybody else about the Burger Bowl here on Sportsnet, USA.net.
Basically, when you look at this young Fullerton College team, my partner Mark Pavlovich just mentioned a little bit ago, they're raw. Would you say that would be a good word to describe them?
Raw but talented. We got a real good freshman class in, and a lot of these guys are going to help us right away. Some of them are raw, but some of them have come in and they're really ready to go right now. So we're real happy with the job we did recruiting. We got some kids, local kids, and we got some kids from out of area that wanted to come out here. So we're real happy with the class, and we're expecting big things for this year.
Now, we were talking about the schedule, looking ahead. Obviously, you have Mount Sac week 2, tough draw. How do you prepare not only for the start of the season, but to immediately draw a tough opponent like that?
Well, we take one game at a time. I mean, so we're focused on Ventura, and then after the Ventura game, we'll break down the film, we'll look at Mount Sac, and we're always going to be ready for those guys. It's always a challenge. They got a great program, so it should be a good challenge for us early on in the season.
Now, talking about Ventura, first game of the season, how do you prepare for a first game differently than the others?
Well, usually your first game you get a lot more time to prepare, but they do have a new offensive coordinator, so we're kind of guessing what they're going to do. So the offensive coordinator came from Mount Sac, so we'll look at a lot of the Ventura stuff, which is UCLA stuff, which I'm familiar with, and then we could basically prepare for both teams going into the first 2 weeks.
What is the number one priority for you teaching these brand new defensive backs going into the season?
Well, the first problem is always learning the language. You know, all the language is going to be different. You know, red might be one thing for us, and it might mean something to them different in high school. So the language is tough, and then getting ready for the speed of the play. It's a lot faster in college. The plays come in faster. Offense is a lot of tempo stuff. So it's more taking what they learn in meetings and adapting and transitioning that to what goes on the field.
Now, just looking ahead at what you have here in comparison to like last year, how would you say the turnover will affect this team going forward?
Well, we're missing some key guys. I mean, obviously Austin Steele was a big leader for us. Losing him is big. But then we have Timmy Roberts, all-conference safety, coming back to take that spot. And then we got no one's really going to be able to replace Marnez Ogletree. You know, he's probably NFL corner. But we got 4 or 5 guys that be able to fill in and all get some experience at that position.
Now, just looking at your experience as a coach, this is your second season here at Fullerton College, correct?
Well, I was here for 4 years before, and then I came back for the last 2 years.
Okay, so you've been at the collegiate level for a while now. What would you say is the biggest difficulty for these incoming freshmen in transitioning from high school into college football?
Well, the school, the discipline, The expectations are a lot more at this level. So, that's the biggest transition. We make sure our guys are ready to move on to the next level. So we're going to harp them on academics, on being on time, on being accountable. So some of that's usually a struggle at the beginning, and then it takes a little while to kind of break them in.
So looking ahead, actually looking behind for just a second here, your defensive backs were absolutely almost, I would say, perfect last season. Now looking at this season, you have a ton of potential here. How difficult will it be to, I guess I would say, allow these players to progress at their own speed and yet get ready for
it's real
different
difficult.
teams?
Obviously, I always wish they progress faster, but you got to take it day by day. Some guys are going to be ready before other guys. Some guys might be more talented, but they're not ready to play at the beginning. So you got to kind of weed that out. That's what's a good thing about today is we get some live bullets, see how they look under the pressure, and kind of make it a game day situation so we see what they're going to react like when it comes to Saturdays when we play.
Now, when you are looking at defensive backs, what are a couple key attributes that you're looking for an everyday starter?
Definitely speed. You got to have good hips. You got to have great eyes. You got to have good awareness. You got to understand offense. You got to understand situational stuff. So it takes a while. I mean, I'm still learning, 15 years later after I've been coaching 15 years, and I still learn stuff every year. So, football is a tough sport. And it's a lot more mental than what people think. And so a lot of these guys, it's a shock to their system.
Well, thank you, Coach.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
Good luck this season. I'm Ryan Osborne alongside defensive backs coach for the Fullerton College Hornets, Phil Austin.
All right, go Hornets.
This is Ryan Osborne alongside Matt Donaldson, safety for the Fullerton College Hornets. Matt, looking forward to this season, how do you get prepared for game one?
It honestly starts like in the beginning of January. We've been working from early morning workouts till just working out during this off season just to be ready for the first game.
Now, we all know that you're facing Ventura in week one, but really, are you looking forward to that Mount Sac game in week two?
Our goal is bigger than Mount Sac. We're trying to win a national championship, so we're just taking it one game at a time. Like I said, we're just worried about Ventura first.
So when you're lining up against an offense, what's the first thing you're looking for when you see the quarterback go into a three-step drop?
First thing I'm looking for is any quick route, three-step route from three-step slants to three-step hitches to bubbles, anything just short.
So what's the, I guess I would say, the most difficult part of being a defensive back?
I would probably have to say you have to be physically and mentally in shape. I feel like as a DB, you have to be the best athlete on the field because you pretty much play backwards, and you pretty much have to be just an all-around football player.
Now, I've heard some people who say in defensive backs they like more muscle, but some others who say less muscle, more speed, more flexibility. What's your take on that?
I think it depends on the athlete. All athletes are different. So there are some guys who are big but run 4.2, 4.3. So I think it just depends on the athlete. Honestly, here at Fullerton, anybody that can play, that's all that matters.
Now, when you're looking at your fellow, I guess I would say defensemen, defensive backs, what are you guys looking forward to in the season?
Pretty much making plays and just being there for our defense. As a DB, we have a big responsibility in our defense. We're like the last resort, so everything pretty much falls on us, and pretty much we're trying to stop the opposing offense from scoring. So all of our goals, we just want to be there for our team.
Now, which do you value more, an interception return or a hit fumble return?
Honestly, both. They both can change the game, but preferably, I have to say a pick. I just feel like a pick is more so clinching, seals the game, and I feel like the quickest way to get the ball back for the offense.
Now, when you're looking at the opposing quarterback, is it important to get into his head before he goes to take the snap?
Not really. We have a bunch of keys that we read. We really don't really pay too much attention to the quarterback. Like I said, because if you get too caught into the quarterback, he can take you off, he can look you off and do different type of things. So we more so look at our keys, which are the guys lined up in front of us, the receivers lined up in front of us.
That's interesting that you mentioned the look off. A lot of what I've heard from high school defensive backs is that they tend to look too much at the helmet of the quarterback, looking at his eyes. So instead, you guys don't look rather at the eyes, but rather the positioning.
Yes, it's more so a great philosophy is see a little and see a lot. Your key can just tell you a lot about where a play is going. Pretty much you have to know route concepts at being DB. So your route that your guy's giving you can pretty much tell you what type of play is coming to pretty much take you to the ball.
Now, I just want to mention the weather because the sun is right in my eyes. But, I mean, obviously today's not too hot. But, I mean, last week it was triple digits. How difficult was it to train like that?
It was very grueling, but I feel like that's what makes football the special sport that it is. I mean, not everyone can come out here and do that. And it was just great because that's what we need just to carry us into the season, carry us into a national championship, just that hard work. And the heat and the sun is just another element that prepares us to be great.
Now, you mentioned that you want national championship, as all us Hornet fans do. Now, I've heard some people who say that they want to focus more on conference championship and then stepping up towards the national championship. Are you guys just aiming for the one goal, or are you looking to plateau it?
Our goal here is just to be great. So we really want to take the conference, we want to take the state championship, we want to take the national championship. And it goes in different steps, different levels, and it takes one step at a time. So, of course, we're going to focus on the conference championship, but the overall goal is to bring a national championship back to Fullerton.
Well, I want to thank you, Matt, for joining me today.
Problem.
Good luck on the rest of the season. Go Hornets.
Thank you.
I'm Ryan Osborne alongside safety for the Fullerton College Hornets, Matt Donaldson.
Mark Pavlovich and Ryan Osborne for SportsNetUSA.net and 90.1 FM KBPK. Ryan, you perused the field. You got to talk to a lot of players, a couple coaches out here, did a couple interviews. The attitude with the team right now, upbeat. I know it's the Burger Bowl. Everybody's hungry, sort of playing football. It's not the real thing yet. But from the attitude from the coaches and the players, what sort of feeling did you get from everybody out here?
I felt, I guess the best word for it is ambition. They're hungry for it. They're looking towards a national championship. Their goal is not just to get the conference, but to make sure they get to that next level. As I just talked to Matt Donaldson a couple moments ago, he said they want to be great. Not that they want to win a conference championship. They want to continue with the Hornet legacy and going a step farther.
So let's see if that happens this year. Don't forget our first game against Ventura. That's going to be September 5th. Make sure you come and watch it or listen to it on sports.usa.net. And just before that, the Coaches Show with Ryan Osborne. College football, college volleyball also on sports.usa.net. So we're not only out here for the guys behind us, but we're going to be out there for a little volleyball. Ryan Osborne will be out there for that. And, of course, one of these days, my partner, Corey Nalen, the mystery partner, will show up here on sportsnet.usa.net. For Ryan Osborne, I'm Mark Pavlovich. Ethan Morse behind the camera. You've been watching the Fullerton College Preview on sportsnet.usa.net.